Hi everybody, this is Patty and I'm here today with a Meg's Garden Design Team project, and I am using papers from the Butterfly Book Kit. These are sold exclusively at Meg's Garden, and if you wanted to buy the book kit, you can also buy it in digital download format where you can purchase the digital papers, download them to your computer, and then print them out yourself. All of the supplies that I've used from Meg's Garden will be posted below the video and on the Meg's Garden blog and my own blog. I took graphics medium weight chipboard in black, and I buy mine from Amazon. I don't know where else you can get it, but they seem to have a good price. And I cut my pieces 6 by 6, and then I used the Tim Holtz alteration on the edge die, this placard one, to cut this design on each of the left hand side. This is going to be my spine, and I punched 2 holes in them. Now, I fussy cut a lot in this book. I fussy cut the fairy from the paper, and then by accident I was trying to get rid of the white edges, and I happened to go over the top a little bit, and like a lot of times, accidents can produce the best effects. And I love the way the black looked, so I went all the way around about 1/8 of an inch. I had already decoupaged the matte piece on, and then I decoupaged my fairy over the top. I debated on whether I wanted to use some of the gorgeous flowers from Meg's Garden, but I just didn't want to deter from the fairy herself. I used Angel Craft Podge semi-gloss. I like this because it is very tacky. It dries very quickly. You don't have a lot of movement with it, but it creates, you can either use it as the glue or the top coat, which I have done on most of the pages in this book. Now, the metal pieces are also from Meg's Garden, and they come like this. You know, they're a metal color. I used Versamark and some Stampendous black embossing powder to change them up. So if you've never changed your metal pieces using embossing powder, give it a try. It works wonderfully. So I have just a Tim Holtz doorknob. I punched a hole in my back cover and taped my end pieces down on the inside of the paper here, pulled it through, and that creates my latch. And on this side, I ran this beautiful lavender ribbon from Meg's Garden along with some eyelash yarn you can pick up in any yarn store, and some purple, a purple scrap that I had in my stash, and that created the binding for my spine. I did cut some, if you can see them here, some hole reinforcers around and put them on each side. But this way, if your album gets chunkier, you can just untie it and retie it. I have a couple charms, this little pendant dangle, and the butterfly. This is how these look when you get them. I didn't do this one in black. And then on the back cover, this again is covered with Angel Craft Podge because I wanted it to be, you know, this is handled a lot, so you want it to be as sturdy as possible. I used a charm for my stash that says made with love. I usually put this on each of my projects. And I created a pocket here. I don't know if I can show you, but see, it's black. I backed this portion here with black to create it, to make it sturdier. Fussy cut around the butterfly, used some stickles on it. That creates a pocket for my little tag that you can put to and from or with love or thinking of you or have fun filling the book or whatever. Your own little sentiment will go right in there to whoever you're giving the book to. And if it's for yourself, you can put pictures of 2015 on it or whatever. So my book opens like this. And let me put these here, a couple of them, so I can, nope, that won't work. Never mind, never mind. Trying to figure out how it is best for you to see. I did a collage of elements from the paper here. and put another stack of the flowers over the top so that it would give more dimension. I love making these collage pockets. I've done it quite a bit in this book. Here I just have 3 tags plain on the back. You can put pictures, or you could put a picture all over the top of whatever. They're just adhered with a brad, and then I put this dream across the back to cover up the prongs of brad. And they just slip in the pocket here. And I did want to show you the antenna for the butterfly. The antenna are stamens, paper stamens that you buy, and I just dip them in some Tim Holtz Distress Paint in black soot, but you have to make sure you let them dry till they're perfectly dry. Here's one of the fussy cut pieces from the paper, and I mounted it on black so it pops more, and a tag that you can put a picture on the back. You can also put a picture right over the top of this if you like, and there's room to slide a picture down underneath here. There are 10 pages in this book. They are all the chipboard, which is something I rarely do, is use the chipboard in my albums, but it just seemed to lend itself to this paper collection. On this one, I used a die. This is Spellbinder's Arched Elegance Pocket. And I used 1/2 of the pocket and cut it and for my tuck-in pocket here. I put a little butterfly on it, and this is some tea and coffee stained seam binding that I have. I've inked it a little bit. All the ink that I've used in this book is either, whoops, that's not the right one. It is black soot, or, let's get the right one here, vintage photo. Because some of the pages were too white for what I was wanting, so just a little bit of ink over. I did use some antique linen in some spots because it's just a little mellower and yellow, and it blends with the vintage photo very well. This has just a little tag with a ribbon from Meg's Garden and a fold out. I used a paper punch here, the corner punch. These are Martha Stewart punches, and this one is the French scroll. And it tucks in here. On this side, I took Meg's, ooh, and I have that. I want to catch that right now. I've just folded that edge under. Well, I'll get it later. This has these tassels all the way down. I trimmed the tassels so there is just one because this is magnetized. So that's my pull to open it up, and you have a spot here and a spot here for a photo, and you can journal about it here. The stamp set that I've used throughout on all my, anytime you see stamping, it's this stamp set. It's the Kaiser Craft stamp, and I believe it's called Windsor. And I used different stamps or inks on it and tried to get them fairly light so they weren't the prominent focus. Here I just have a trifold, again using one of the Martha Stewart punches. This is the vintage floral punch on this one. I love these corner punches and using them because they just create a nice accent without deterring from your book. It slides into this pocket. Another die that I've used, this is Marianne Creatables, and this is the Vintage Decoration die. Now, this die does not cut on the straight edge, so if you want to use it for a pocket or a decorative element, leave about 1/2 to 1 inch on this side, and that way, score it after you've cut it. That way you have a flange to put between your mat and your top. So you can just slide it underneath, glue it in, and it's great. And the last die I've used throughout is a Marianne Creatables Vintage Swirls die. I use this one a lot in my things, and it's this one here. Again, some elements from the paper, and done the same thing here, that vintage swirl, and cut out collaged elements to hold the 2 pockets here. This one I did steal from the other collection, but most of the papers that are in here are from the butterfly collection. Here again is that same die that I used, only I used it top and bottom and trimmed it to fit. Fussy cut some flowers, and then I have a tag here, and I left the little pull up so you could slide a picture. I just put these in so it would give someone an idea of what size picture. You could actually make it a little bit bigger if you wanted to. And I left the back plain. And there are just a couple of tags that I stuffed in here. This little flag down here on the bottom is just matted in black and curled so that it gives some dimension. You can see how I left it up on this page here. On this side, again, I took my craft knife. Where is it? Well, I'll show you this one. I took my craft knife and I cut around. I backed it in black and cut around here so that I glue it here all the way and just around the outer edges. And then you haven't disturbed your paper. You still have this gorgeous paper from the collection that you can see, but you've created a pocket to slip whatever. This is just a little book that I made. Again, I magnetized it here. Fussy cut the birds in the bird's nest out for my pull. And I was running out of paper, so you can see I pieced them in spots, but that's okay. Looks fine. The little bird was from the Funky Junkie. It was a gift she had sent me in with an order I placed, and it had been sitting here on my desk, and it was perfect. So I just left it freestanding on this side and put some Wink of Stella. I think there you can see how it shines. The next two pages, this is again this arch elegant pocket, but I used the whole pocket on this one. And I just tied some of Meg's ribbon here and there. Fussy cut the butterfly and the flowers out. And the antenna on this butterfly are actually the pieces that I snipped off of one of the flowers. It just holds a little pocket. And again, you can see I've used that, it's very light, that Windsor stamp from Kaisercraft. On this one, oh, aren't these flowers gorgeous? I fussy cut them out, backed them on black, and fussy cut them again. I like to do this because the black just helps the flowers pop so well. And then I have just a tag that slips back behind. On the next two pages, again, I've done the same thing here. I'm not going to pull this mat out, but the same thing. I sliced here with my knife all along here, and then that creates the pocket. You just want to make sure that you don't glue anywhere that you want your papers to slide in, forming the pocket. I put a very, very 1/8 inch strip of score tape around the outside edge, and then a very fine line of wet glue just to the inside of that edge of tape. That way you've got double duty. You don't have the score tape where you're going to be putting your mat in, and perhaps it might hit the score tape where it's not glued down all the way, and it will make it stop. It'll snag it. But if you put that fine line of wet glue on the inside of it, that way you're double covered. You've got real good coverage to have it down, and you don't have anything that's going to snag or as you put your mats inside and out. This is just a little piece from the pocket or to form a stopper here, because I didn't want this picture falling out when it's been matted. Here I have a belly band with just a little trifold book. Plenty of room. You've got 7 pictures that you can put in this one right here, and it just slides right under like that. And then on the next page I have another belly band with another trifold and more of the stamping and the back. So you can put 6 pictures here and 1 on the front and the back here. So 8 pictures plus the one here, 9 pictures on this one little side. It's very deceiving how many photos you can actually get into mini books like this. On this one, this is one of the metal pieces from Meg's, but it was silver. So I just used some Tim Holtz alcohol inks and went over it until I got this kind of distressed bronzy gold look. I took my antique linen and I went over this because this was a very white piece, and I wanted it to have more of the cream effects. I didn't want it to be as white. And then I had this little piece laying on my desk that I had fussy cut out, and I just thought that added just a pop of color. So this is a magnet, and it magnetizes. The magnet is under here, but because this is metal, it will magnetize to that. And that's another thing. Any pieces that you have that are metal, you can use them with your magnets, and that way you're only having to use one magnet instead of two. Here again, I've left this plain so you can put plenty of pictures, and a good size pictures there. On this one, this is some ribbon from Meg's. I love this grosgrain looking ribbon. One of her flowers, this is an aubergine flower. It's a paper flower. I love it. And again, those flourishes that I die cut out. This is a metal dragonfly from her charm collection. Again, I've used the black distress ink, distress powder in my heat gun on it to make it black with the theme. And here's a little book. I had these scraps left over that I had cut, I believe, from my mats or something. So I just trimmed them to fit, corner rounded the outer edges, punched holes in the middle. There's 3 of them. Punch holes in the middle, tied some of the ribbon from Meg's in the middle. And then what I did was I just used my stamps and distressed the pages that were plain. And this makes a neat little book that would hold probably 2 by 2 photos. And it just slides underneath the butterfly. The butterfly is actually the pocket in this case. There we go. And I've carried the theme of the ribbon across on this side with this little, this is an acetate butterfly. You buy these in the acetate sheets and then fussy cut them out. It has a purple brad for the head, and you just simply can turn it and then lift up this. You've got a place for a photo here and a large photo there, and then it again just slides back over, and you can adjust it wherever you want the butterfly or which way you want him flying. These are the last 2 pages, and these are my favorite. Using the pieces, the die cut pieces to make these collage pockets. I love doing this. And I've got 3 pieces on this one, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces on this one. But you can use up a multitude of your little bitty scraps. So when you're cutting your paper, don't get rid of anything until you're done completely, because you may be able to collage it into something like this that makes a fantastic pocket. And here again, I have a trifold for photos. You have 5 photos, and actually you have 6 if you want to put one over the top here, and then it's wonderful. You have room to put a photo here or slide photos down into the pocket to house them. And on this side, I just have this one that creates a photo like that. Now, I think I have shown you everything that I had laid out here that I wanted to make sure I talked about. This is a very chunky little book because, like I said, it is all made out of chipboard. But I just love how it turned out. I love the papers and the ephemera from Meg's Garden. Be sure and check out her store. Thank you very much for joining me. If you are not a subscriber to my YouTube channel or Meg's, be sure and become one today. Hit the like button if you liked my project, and be sure and leave us a comment. I love the comments. I have been slower getting back to them lately, but I will answer them all eventually. Thank you, everyone. Have a very great day. Bye-bye.